A pleasant good evening to everybody out there in viewing land, listening land. It's Tough Forum coming right back at you one more time again. I'm your host for tonight, it's Andrew, just chilling in the mix. And I have some guests that are going to be coming on shortly. But tonight, our topic we're dealing with Not My Child, a mother's cry. And yes, I have on three mothers with me tonight. And tonight, we're just going to just delve into the conversation about the cry of a mother. Praise. But I want to just first of all thank everybody that has been following me, and for those who don't know the handles that you can get me on, I just want you to please follow us on Instagram. I want you to like us on Facebook at Tough Forum, subscribe to us on YouTube at Tough Forum, and look for us on the World Wide Web at www.toughforum.com. All right, we're gonna get into it, and one of my guests that I have with me tonight, one of my guests tonight we have is actually Nikki Smith, a good friend of mine. Good to see you, Nikki. How you doing? Say hello to the people out there.
Likewise. Good evening, everyone. It's my
All
pleasure
right.
to be here.
Yeah, all right, all right. So how you doing? How you doing?
I am good, thank you.
Good. Busy day today?
A little bit. Didn't like the snow.
All right.
Thought it was done, but
Well, I just first of all want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for just coming on. As I'm, gradually working out some of the bugs. Not the greatest at this thing, but I'm learning. I'm learning. But it's an important conversation that we're having tonight. And you, as a mother, you as a business woman, boss lady number one, we're going to be talking about a few things and how it affects your children, how it affects on your young boys. As we see what's happening in the world today, Nikki, I mean, things are looking kind of shaky, looking kind of scary where our young men are concerned. And we're going to talk a couple things about that. So we need to see where we can find the solutions and just put them forth. So can't wait to hear what you have to put towards this. And once again, I just want to thank you because this means a lot to me that we can add this to content, add this to conversation. I know it doesn't end with just us talking tonight, but at least it starts somewhere. And I believe that, us working together will get there. All right.
likewise, my pleasure to be here
All
and
right. All
look
right. Let
forward
me
to
just.
seeing what's gonna happen here tonight.
All right, don't worry. It's the tough forum, but we ask some of the tough questions, but it's a safe space also. So feel free to just speak your mind, speak your voice. It's family friendly, and I don't expect nothing foul to come out. But what I mean, just speak your truth, right?
Mhm.
So with that being said, while I'm waiting on my other two guests, I'm gonna just start by just saying, finish this statement for me, Nikki. All right. This statement I'm going to say is this: my child would never do that. What is the that your child you think would never do?
That's a tough
Tough forum. Tough
statement.
question. Yes, go ahead.
Um, Personally, I do not think we should actually say, yeah, I don't think we should actually use that statement never because we don't know. You never know
Good.
what your child will actually do. It's your
Okay.
hopes, your dreams that they will never, but I think but I think that we should definitely never say that our child will never do something.
I like that, and I kind of expect some of those answers, of course. But sometimes I think if we don't even say it out loud, we say it in our head. Nah, man, that's not my child. Especially
True.
when you hear some disparaging news, or you hear something, and you're like, that's not my child. That doesn't sound like my child. Because I mean, that child is in your home. You see how they act and how they behave. You know how you brought them up, right?
True.
Now, with that being said, I like what you said that you can't really make a statement like that because you don't know what they're gonna do when they're not in your presence, right? So I get why you say that, but you don't think there's something that you would say, because of how you rear your children, that if you heard it,
Yes, yes, that's true. I would say that my child would never steal. My child would never do something bad to another child. Like, perfect example, my daughter in school. I
mhm.
went to school one day to pick her up, and as I was leaving, another parent came up to speak with the principal, and she stopped me. And she said, just hold a second. She went and she spoke with the principal, and then the principal called me and she said, um, unfortunately, she's saying that your daughter threw sand in her daughter's hair, and she just did the hair yesterday. It was a Monday, so
Yeah.
she's done it for the week. And I've called. I want to talk to your daughter about it. So I'm like, okay. In my head, I know Nikila would never do something like that. But anyways, she came up and I said, Nikila, did you throw sand in the girl's hair? She said, no, mommy. And I'm looking at her because I know my daughter.
Yeah.
And I said, you never did it. And she said, no. And the parents started, and she's like, you know what? She said she did it. And so she was the only one that was there with two other children. And when she lifted up her head, she saw Mikila standing. And I'm
Mhm.
like, Mikila, look at me. Did you do that?
Mhm.
No, mommy, I didn't. And I know if she's like, lying and all, I know. And so I said, okay. I said, I don't believe she did it. However, I need you to apologize to her and let her know that you're sorry. And then I'm like, you know what? No, I'm sorry for what your daughter is saying that happened to her. I don't believe my child that did it. However, she's saying that she did. What can I say? The principal then said, you know what? Mikila, do you know who did it? She said,
Mhm.
yes. And I'm like, okay. And she told who did it. And when she did, that child has already left. So we weren't able to conference. Okay, leave it with me and I'll speak with the child tomorrow.
Okay.
And the parent called me tomorrow and she said, unfortunately, Mikila was telling the truth. It wasn't her, it was the other child. On my way home in the car, I asked Mikila again. I said, Mikila, did you do this? She said, no, mommy, I didn't. And I believed her. However, the child said it was Mikila who threw sand in her hair. So what am I going to say? I wasn't there.
Okay, I get it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So of course, now you're hearing secondhand or first-hand account from somebody else, and this is what you have to go with, right?
Yep,
Exactly. Now, I mean, no one should know a child more than their mother, right?
that is true.
So that's why I asked the question, because what is it that you're gonna really say when you hear first-hand account from somebody who's coming and saying something to you? Like, I mean, how do you respond to that? You know, what I mean, how do you first? What's your initial response that you say or do yeah? How do you respond to someone when you hear that kind of news? Though, like,
Well, I guess my response in that example was basically to talk to my child and find out from her, did you do this or not? I don't think I should be jumping down on Mikila and saying, okay, or the child to say, well, you did this. I need to hear her side of it. I'm not going to take, I know my child, but I'm also not going to take someone else's word before
yeah.
hearing what she has to say.
So before you respond, I guess you're gonna do some investigating. You're gonna say, okay, I heard what you say. I heard what you said, and that doesn't sound like my child, but let me. So you're, in other words, you're gonna give your child the benefit of the doubt
Benefit of the
first,
doubt.
and
Yes,
then you're gonna go and investigate it, right? And
that's
rightfully so. I
correct.
think that's exactly what I would do too. And of course, I'm going somewhere with these questions because the topic tonight, of course, is not my child and a mother's cry. But that "not my child" doesn't have to go to that analogy I just gave you. The "not my child," I'm sure you hear some or you know some mothers who have lost a child, or they had bad news. Man, I think your son or whatever just got shot. I heard. Can you imagine? And the mother's like, no, not my child. You know what I mean? So this cry of a mother is more than just on the defensive tip. It's more also on the remorseful tip, or on the tip like, how did this reach my child? And we're having this discussion tonight because I'm trying to figure out, how do we stop that? that a mother doesn't have to cry again for losing a child. A mother doesn't have to cry again by saying she's hearing disparaging news about her child that she was rearing up, or her and her husband or father of the child was rearing up, right? So, with that being said, what do you think is one of your biggest fears when your child leaves your home?
I would say, how grounded are they? Will they stand based on the teaching that we have given them,
Hmm.
or bend based on peer pressure?
Okay. Okay. So when they leave and they say, "Mom, I'm going hang out with the friends,"
Mhm.
you're definitely concerned about the peer pressure more than anything.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I guess me, I have three children, and they're grown now. But when I know when they were leaving the home and they're saying they're going with their friends, I guess my fear was, for my boys in particular, was just like you said, the influence, the pressure that they're gonna be, subject to. I was like, how am I gonna do this, right? And with my daughter, it probably was a little different, but nonetheless, that fear was always in the back of my head. What are they going to be doing when they're with their friends?
Yes.
So I like that answer there. Hold on one second here. As I see one of my guests coming in. I'll see if I can. Hey, 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 hey. So I'm dealing with not my child, a mother's cry. Here comes another mother introducing you to the Tough Forum. My friend Nadine Wisdom. How you doing, sis?
How you doing? I'm good, good, thanks.
Good, good. Let me just take you down a little bit. You can hear us fine?
Yep.
All right, all right. Good to have you on tonight. We're talking on this session tonight, and it's a serious conversation, but you're in the tough forum. You're going to get some tough questions. And as I was talking to my first guest, Nikki Smith, and I just threw out the question to her. I said, finish this statement. And I said, my child would never do that. What is the that your child, Nadine, would never do?
Let me see. My child would never cuss to me.
Never cuss at you.
Mm-mm.
So if someone come and said, Nadine, you know what your son just said to me? He told me, beep, 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 beep. You'll be saying, nah, that's not my child.
No,
Or
it's
would
not.
you? So you would just right off the bat say, no, 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 that's not my child. You wouldn't say, hey, let me go. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt right now, but that doesn't sound like my child. You be like defensive mode, right? That's defensive mommy right there.
It's not so much defensive, mom. It's I know my child. If by chance my child were children, I have two.
Okay.
Either of them were to be provoked to do that, I would know that protective mom would have to be activated at that point because serious must be going on.
Protective mom. Yeah, I like that. Protective mom. Okay, good answer. Good answer. You know what? Because I think we are biased because we know that we've grown them to what we wanted or what we expected them to have, right? And when we hear that, we're like, come on, that's I grew my child better than that. So I understand, and I like what Nikki said when Nikki said to me that she wouldn't really off the jump just beyond no, that's not my child, because you don't know what they do behind when they're not in your presence. So that's fair enough. We're not judging here. There's no wrong answer here, but I just want to hear from each of you ladies on how you answered that question. And since you answered that for me, I'm gonna bring our next guest here, who's on the panel too. Hey, next boss lady on the line. That's Sophie. Good to see you. How you doing? Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. We're working on some bugs here, ladies. All right, you are gonna know each other. We got
Yes.
Nikki Smith in the house. We got Nadine Wisdom in the house. We got Sophie Denton in the house. All boss ladies in their own rights, and they're all mothers. So
Yes.
thank you so much once again, all you ladies, for coming on tonight with me. and for joining this conversation. And I know it's a serious conversation, but we're going to make light of it, although we're in the tough forum. So expect that you're going to get the tough questions. And again, it's a free space. It's a safe space. So if you feel, passionate about a topic or a question that I ask and you answer there's not going to be no judgment. Just know that it's a family show. Amen. All right.
Okay.
So Sophie, I asked the two ladies before you to finish the statement, so I'm going to give it to you too. Finish the statement. Not my child. My child would never do that. What's the that your child wouldn't do?
My kid?
Yeah. What's it? Someone comes to you and gives you first-hand account of something that your child did, and you never knew. They're just telling you, and you're like, that doesn't sound like my child. What's the not my child?
It definitely depends on which child we're talking about.
Okay, let's go with your boy. Let's go with your son.
Okay, so the girl, she tends to be pretty.
Okay.
So if somebody came and said that she had lied about something, especially certain serious things, that would be a surprise.
That'd be a surprise to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The boy, not so much.
All right. Okay.
What I hear, I can't really think of something that. I mean, he does a lot more damage than a daughter does.
Okay.
So there's
Good. So don't worry, don't sweat it.
Not necessarily believe was possible that he could do. He's that type of person.
Listen, that was just the first icebreaker question because obviously, we grow our children in the home a certain way. It's a different thing when they're out there. So when you hear something discouraging, you're going to be like, right? And I can see that it's easy to be defensive, but sometimes, really and truly, if we chose to be honest, your child could probably do some things that you never thought was possible when they're around their peers. And that's why we're having this conversation today, right? Because we just don't know sometimes, right? I asked the question, what's the biggest fear? And why we're talking about tonight is because when I ask you that question, no, not my child. My child would never do that. You can use it in that analogy. But not my child speaks more than that. It's like when you hear bad news and your son got stabbed or shot or dead, or your child, your daughter, whatever, your child, and you'll be like, no, not my child. Especially if you knew you didn't rear your child in a violent environment. So you wouldn't think that your child should be getting stabbed if he's not, or getting shot. If you never saw him with a violent tendency or temper, what did he do to deserve this, right? So that's why we're really talking about it tonight, because the cry goes beyond just defense mode or what did your child do. So with that being said, then, since you are our mothers, I'm going to ask you something on the opposite side now. What expectation do you have for fathers in the rearing of your child? So your child's father, your husband's, what role do they play, and how important? What is it that you see that a father must play in rearing your child? Nadine, take that one first.
Let me see now.
Be easy or be hard.
Okay, so first and foremost, I don't place any more value on a father than a mother. So the very basic, both parents need to show up for their children. Okay. Yes, there are aspects to rearing a child, perhaps that a father can enhance for a son, a daughter, and vice versa. But at the very least, they need to show up. They need to be present. They need to know their child. And so they need to be present.
Good answer. They need to be present. Nikki, what's it for you?
Better role models.
Better than you, or just better, period?
Just better, period. I think that there's a song, "Children live what they learn." How you treat even the mother of your child depicts how the child possible will treat their mother or even you, right?
Mhm.
We can't be saying one thing and doing another thing. So I think like even with my husband, I tell him that I want him to spend more time with our daughters. Like the oldest is 16. Talk to
Yeah.
her, let her know how a woman should be treated and what is
Mm.
expected of a man, right?
Mm.
From a man's perspective, how she should carry herself. If she dresses a certain
Mm.
way, what messages she's sending. With my
Mm.
6-year-old, the same thing. She's not too young for him to start treating her that, right? However, at this tender age, let her see how, away from my presence, I would say, take her away from me and let her know that a family is not just a mother only, but a father too. And I'm not throwing punches on single parents here, but really and truly, mothers, Black mothers too. I think we tend to let our children know that a man should be present.
Yes.
Being a man doesn't validate us, but letting them
Right.
know that from a young age, having a father present is key.
Good.
Also, seeing a mother and a father together, going out on dates, spending time together, joking around, that does create a family foundation.
Good. 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 No, I'm hearing points here. Point here. I like that present. It doesn't validate you. I'm hearing these good things and speak and communicate. Sophie, speak on it. What do you say about the father's role?
So I agree with what Nadine was saying, that I do believe that it's the both roles. Like there's no one that's more important or valid than the other. Being a parent is a relationship.
Okay.
And so relationship is built every day. And so every day I feel as parents, mother or father, should be making active attempts to build relationships with their kids. I agree with you as well, role modeling. But if we don't have that ground foundation of a relationship, no matter what they do, or dad, it's not going to be received. It's not going to be respected if there's no foundation of relationship. And I think as parents, that's parenting role model. I feel is structure and love. And if we implement structure and love in everyday relationships with our kids, everything else will follow.
Nice. Okay. I love those answers. I love those answers. And I love the fact, as ladies are saying that it doesn't, one is not more important than the others because society will have it. You say, well, it's because a father wasn't in the home. So I'm glad I'm hearing from mothers who can speak to this and say, no, it's not really about that. It's about these elements that you're bringing about being present, structure, etc., etc. Good, good. We're going somewhere. I'm going to be firing off questions, so don't feel no way. But if you have something you want to rebut inside, jump in, okay? Please, Nadine, Sophie, Nikki. All right, we're free here, right? So I want to ask this thing about respect, right? I was talking to you ladies in the week, and what I want to talk. There's a couple questions I'm going to have to follow up because I'm talking about respect here. Now, respect goes and respect is given for you to receive that respect too. But now you being the parent in your home, do you respect your child's space? So, for example, their room. Who's the mother on this screen here that will go in there randomly and just toss the room? No hands. Okay, Nadine, there you go. Nadine, so you don't care. It's my home. I'm gonna go in there and give you a little spot check. Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
All right. And Nikki, I didn't see your hand. Sophie, I didn't see your hand.
If there's nothing to hide,
Yeah.
then there shouldn't be a problem. Here's the thing. I do respect faith, right? I don't have closed doors in our house.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a standard with respect to how I want their rooms kept. And whether I walk past, a bed is not made, which is never the case. But anything out of place, we're all in there to make sure that it gets dealt with at that time, right?
Okay.
Right? So it's more so about keeping things in order. I'd
All
like
right.
to I like to keep in communication with my kids that if I ask a question, I'll get an answer. Whatever I'm not satisfied with, I'll find out. So
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
Okay. Okay. So you respect their space, but at the same time, you're saying on more of a what the expectation that you have for their upkeep in that space.
Right.
Now, what if
it goes to respecting their space as well, you know, setting a standard and making sure that standard is maintained, you know. When they come out, they're entitled to do whatever they want to do with their space, right? But while they're in my space, they have to maintain it. So the only way to make sure it's being done, I have to put eyes.
All right, fair. Nikki, chime in on it. I didn't see you put up your hand. Are you the one that's saying, nah, I respect my children's space. I can't go in there just all willy-nilly?
No, I wouldn't say that. And I guess the reason why I didn't put up my hand is because right now I have only my 6-year-old living with me.
Okay.
So it's on a different, you know what I mean? It's a little bit different because it's not teenager. And I'm not saying you have to wait until it's teenager, but I do go into her room still. And I do check what am I checking for? It's not what the other ladies based on the ages of their children would be. You know what I mean? But I mean, even coming from school, I do check even her hand. She might just have something like a bracelet that belongs to someone else.
Just switch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Turn me down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. But I don't think that I wouldn't say definitely what age do you start. I would say what age do you stop? Right? I guess that would be my thing. And I mean, other parents might differ, but I think they do adapt to behaviors that are learned, right? Sometimes there are different signs. Sometimes you can't even detect them, right? Because there's some children that you would wonder what, because at home they're one thing, and when they leave it's another thing. So you may just think that they're different, but it's all in communication, I think.
Yeah. Well,
and are you friends with your? Are you friends?
Right. I set a standard for communication. I set a standard for their personal hygiene, for how they keep their space, their possessions, everything, right? So I'm the only one to enforce it, right? No police not coming in, no teachers not coming in.
Yep.
I'm the one to enforce it. I set the standard, I'm the one to enforce it, you know? So if
Pause
it means
a
I
second.
have to go to the room, I'm going in there. It means I have to check the bag.
One second.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that thought, Nadine. Sophie, before you chime in, let me just fix something. Just give me 20 seconds right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Cool. Lift. Just 10 more seconds. All right. How are we feeling? All right. Nadine, sorry, finish your thought.
I guess I was just saying that I'm judge, jury, and executioner in my house. So if I have to do spot checks, I do spot checks. It has nothing to do with whether I trust my kids. I just know that I set a standard, and you know, I trust for my standard to be maintained while in my home, you know.
Yeah. Sophie, chime in.
Yeah, no problem. I'll jump in here. Okay. So when it comes to me, I've kind of done a little bit of both. So my children are 8 and 9 years old, but I was parenting prior to having my own children because I did fostering, and I had teenagers. So I didn't put my hand to say that I would search rooms, but I have when I've had teenagers and I've had cause to search rooms. I don't hide that I'm searching rooms, so it's not something I'm doing as a secret, and I'm doing it with a purpose. And I am a communicator, so I communicate these things along the way. The same thing for my kids. I do try my best to respect space. If I am looking through their things, they're aware of it. I'm not hiding and doing it when they're not there. I'm doing it when they're there, so that there's no like I'm trying to sneak or hide or find things, because then that's, I think, where for me it feels like I don't trust them. And it's not that I don't trust them, but if there's something that I have with my kids, not really, but with the foster kids that I've had in the past, if there was reason to believe that there was something in the house. And I mean, I had a variety of kids and I didn't have a choice of what their past experiences were. So as long as it's not illegal, I don't take it away. But if I find something that's illegal, then it's mine. And so that was a conversation that was had on day one, and then just continues forward if there's any reason for it. But having conversations and saying, like, if you're doing something, I'm paying the bills here, leave it outside. I can't stop you from doing things. I can't control it. At least I'm aware of it and I'm giving you another option. I don't want it in my house. Those are your options. So having those conversations, so that if I do find something, there's no arguments, or because it's been communicated at the beginning, this is not okay. This is the standard, as Nadine says. And when the standard is being compromised, then we have to have another conversation. So, I do see the both sides of it. Having younger kids, there's not as much, maybe candies go missing out of a candy jar. You're trying to find wrappers and stuff like that. Fruit Loops wrappers, I definitely find those, and then we have no snacks for school. But, either way, I think communication and a conversation is a big part of that.
And I also, in adding to the communication, I think it's also good to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's also good to be friends with your child or children.
Yes.
And I know that could be, a lot of people may say something different on that, but I think it all boils down to, what does friendship means to you? You know what I mean? What is a friend? Being a friend, you're going to say something, am I?
This is the same thing I was saying before with, sorry, Nikki, but with having a relationship, having, like, the key, I think, component is the relationship factor. Like, right now I could say, like, my kids tell me everything, like, to the point where it's okay, guys, like, you can keep you don't have to tell me your friends' secrets and stuff like that. But even with my years of fostering, the kids that I got through to the best were the ones that I had a relationship with, because then they respected what I had to say as much as I listened to what they had to say.
I would say I still want to hear about the friends. I still want to hear about the friends. Like, you have a friend secret. So I tell my daughter, I said, I'm your best friend. So even though your friend tell you a secret, you can still tell me. Mommy won't tell anybody else, but because I need to know. I need to know what that friend is telling my daughter. What impact are you being? And, like, you're going to say, well, don't say certain things, but I'm going to tell you this. You know what I mean? I need to know. So I'm still inquisitive that way, to find out what's going on with her. What's the friends telling you? So if you're going to say, oh, it's a secret, I can't tell you. No. You need to tell me.
Well,
unfortunately, I'm the odd man out, because I've always said to I have two kids. My daughter is going to be 28. My son is going to be 12. And I've always said to my daughter, although we're good now, but I've always said to her, listen, I'm not your friend. I'm not.
But that was something we grew up with. Our parents said that to us.
Parent first. It's too dangerous to be your friend. And friendship comes with an expectation or a certain leniency that sometimes the kids want to take advantage of. And unfortunately, the clawback of the authority, when you give them friendship and then you want to come back to being the main authority person is sometimes that's more painful or more taxing on the relationship, period. You know, so I don't try to blur those lines. But like I said, she's 28 this year, so we're good now. It's a journey to get there, but we're good now. And
Nadine, you know what?
Too. She's listening.
Sorry, and that's the reason I said, what does a friend mean to you, right? Because a friend instructs, a friend corrects, right? And a friend keeps you accountable. So I think as parents, we think that, well, friendship means that you're going to like uphold what they do when they do something wrong. That's not what friendship means to me. You know, I need to hold her accountable. A friend, as I said, instructs and keeps you accountable.
Listen, I'm judge and jury myself in my home. And here's what I'm saying. Because I hear the 2 points. And I understand that you can be a friend in terms of listening. But friends are different. You have to have that boundary, I believe. If I'm the father, because I'm the man right now. So if I'm the father, I'm your dad. Don't treat me like your friend. You understand? So I understand what you're saying, Nick, in terms of communication, but there has to be a boundary. There has to be a boundary for me that says that listen, at the end of the day, I am the authority. If I'm a friend, that means we're at the same level. You understand what I'm saying? That's just now I see Sophie crossing her head like this already. So I know you're gonna probably rebut, but don't worry. I am just saying, when it comes to that borderline where I'm gonna toss your room because you know what, there's a little thing breaking down here with trust or something, you might have something in there. Listen, there's no friendship at this point. The authority is what's going to be ruling here. Because guess what? This is my home. And until you decide that, you know what, you want to leave my home, which we'll get into later anyway, I think that's why I'm saying friendship only comes now. So I hear what you're saying, Nikki, when it says it depends what friendship means to you. So if you're saying then on the level of, yes, I love you and I will have a conversation, you can talk to me about anything. That still doesn't say you can come and talk to me and style me anyway because yeah, me and dad are friends. You know, we
No,
drink a
not it.
beer together.
Definitely not in that hand. Go ahead, Sophie.
So, and that's why, like, and I hear, and that's why I really stand firm on, like, because I agree with both sides. I hear everything, and that's why I say it's about relationship, because we get caught up in friendship and we think, especially with our culture, friend this and a friend that, and that's not. It's about relationship. Once you have an established relationship, it's not about authority or it's about respect, and respect comes with a relationship. I don't I don't style on my friends, and that's how I'm teaching them how to be a good friend to a person. Be a good friend to me and you'll be good friends to other people. Have a good relationship with me. I'm their basis on relationship. I am their foundation on relationship. Every relationship they build from here on starts with me.
Yes.
I teach them how to treat people. I teach them how to respect people. I teach them by showing it to them and demanding it in return. Raising other people's kids before raising my own children taught me a lot with raising my own children, because even if I wanted to, couldn't beat them, couldn't like cuss at them, I had to learn to get respect without doing things that a parent would typically do. And they're coming in as teenagers already. They're coming in with attitude already. And I'm coming in saying, hi, I'm Sophie, and you have to pretend that I'm your mom. Well, there was some challenges with that.
Well,
it had to be with respect. And a little part of that is friendship, because realistically, they respect their friends probably more than they respect their parents. So when you go in with that aspect, you know, they talk to their friends more than they talk to their parents. I need to be that person. I need to be that in. So that's why I go in with relationship, because like right now, even though my youngest is 8 and 9, my eldest that considers me mom is 34. I don't know if I'm supposed to say her age out loud, but you know, and we started with a friendship that was told that we shouldn't have. She needed to respect me. And I was 21 years old and she was 14 years old. here we are at 34 and 39 and change, and that respect and that relationship is still there. So
Okay. Good answers, ladies. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna go beat this into the ground because obviously we see our different areas where friendship is concerned. I see a comment here saying friends with authority, question mark, exclamation mark. Like, how do you have a friend with authority? And you know, so we'll leave it there. But I'm just saying friends and authority where parents are concerned, there has to be a line drawn in, is my belief, right? And why I'm asking that is because I think there's a cultural conditioning. Do you believe, for example, that there was some kind of cultural conditioning that happened within our folks,
yeah,
that made us say or make a choice that we're going to either be friends or not handle our child the same way that we were handled?
Yep.
Sophia, I see you nodding. Take this first.
We came from parents that said, me and you are not friends. We're not friends. And we're dealing with a lot of generational things that we don't realize are really messing us up, because this is what we've ever known, is that we cannot be friends with our kids. That's because friend means they don't respect you. Their friends mean that you're not the authority. And I feel like you can have it all.
Nadine, right or wrong? Me and you are no friend.
No, we're not friends. but as I said, here's the thing. Different ages and stages command different type of communication, different type of leniency, different expectation, and different responsibilities on the behavior that these kids will have, right? My son is 12, right? I am fully in control, right? There's no loose freedom thing available, because he's not able to claim the responsibility for himself if something goes wrong. You understand? I'm still 100% responsible for any and everything he does, if he does anything, right? I'm going to claim the good stuff too, right? But my daughter is 28, so that's a different kind of relationship, you know? Maybe you want to call it friendship. Of course, there has to be some kind of a friendship-ish kind of manner to the relationship. But as I still say to her, the hierarchy of our friendship still has mother above child all the time, right? So
I agree.
if that interferes with the exercise of the parties to the friendship, then we might as well revert back to your mother and your pick me.
What me say?
You understand what I'm saying? And what me say?
So that cultural
Thankfully,
conditioning
we're
still
not there.
resonates with you. That means that what your parents did, you still took something from there, right?
Listen, I was afraid of my mother. She was so scary that I didn't even want to think for myself. Okay. My father was just a bully altogether. So all of my thinking, all of my everything happened when I moved out of the house, right? 17 turning 18.
Okay.
That's when Nadine became her own person, right? And any mistakes I made, I had to claim those mistakes. Anything that I did that rewarded me, guess what? It was also only mine, right? If they were alive today, I'm sure that they would want to claim any of the good stuff now and say, because of me, because of me, Nadine this and Nadine that. I would beg to differ, but I did learn some things from how my relationship was with them.
Okay.
I still don't see.
Okay. Fair enough.
The even line that we're on the same line. We can't ever be on the same line. You can't.
No fight for me. No fight for me. Sophie, speak on it.
Never.
However.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm also in another predicament. I recently separated, moving back home and living with my parents at 41 years old. So I have a little bit of both aspects of it. And so I'm also now being parented by my mom, who doesn't realize, I'm watching this, Mom, that I'm 41 years old. And because we cannot realize that this is a relationship and not authority and child, we always, and even when sometimes intellectually, not to say that I'm smarter, but like now I've passed my mom in certain areas, technology, like things have changed. It's hard for her to even respect what I have to say because we're always, she's the authority and I'm the child, opposed to let's just work on having a relationship.
Wow.
Because I'm at the other end of it where I can see things that the way she's doing it is very old and very ancient and very backwards and not like working with what she could work with now. She's making life harder for herself because she's the adult and I'm the child. And when I try to say, listen, now I'm coming to like some realizations and now I'm understanding things and I'm seeing things differently, it's always, well, we're not friends. And so she'll respect her friends who are.
She's not there, right? She's not beside you.
Sorry?
Is she online?
She's not beside you.
I don't know. I don't know. I have to go back.
Yeah, you look like you're hiding now.
Yeah, I know.
I love you, Mom. But I see the challenges of, because it's like it's hard for them parents to get out of this mind frame and to respect you as an adult because they've spent their entire time seeing this as we're not friends. And at some point your kids are going to pass you in knowledge. They're going to pass you, and like you passed your parents at some point. My question that I was going to ask is, like, you talk about your parents and like leaving at 17, 18 years old and making all these decisions at 17 and 18 years old. Do you trust your children at 17, 18 years old to make the same decisions you made? Like, are we giving them that same leeway because we like, are we taking those relationships and we use it to when it benefits us, but then we don't look at it when it's, you know, the other way around?
Time out. Time out. Before anybody rebuts to that, because I want to say something. Yes, I agree that there are certain times where this is applicable, and I believe also that different generations. And Sophie, you're in a unique position, or a unique position where you're kind of in the middle of that, where you have your parents, you have children, and you're still an adult. Yeah. And I actually lived that life too, where I had to go back home for a little bit. So I know what that's about, because the parent's always going to be the parent. Guess what? You're going to be the same way because you're always the parent. So I know we're talking about friends, but why I'm going to Nikki, speak on this. Can you still keep your unruly child under your roof if respect for you is lost? If trust has been deteriorated between you and your child, can you keep them under your roof?
If respect for me is lost. Wow. What age is this child? You know what?
Sorry. Time out. No. Let me say something, Nikki, before you respond to that question. Now, remember, our topic tonight, and for those who are joining on, you're on Tough Forum, and my guests tonight are the ladies of the night, boss ladies in their own rights, Nadine Wisdom. We got Sophie, owner operator of her business, and we got Nikki Smith. Yeah, you guys are all bosses. Relax. So anyway, tonight what we're talking about is, not my child, a mother's cry. And the mother's cry is more than just, it's not my child that did that. It's, I don't want my child to be dead on the streets. And I know we're talking because our children, I heard Nadine talking about 28 and Aiden. How old is your son? 12, you said?
12.
And yeah, and Sophie, I know you have young children, and Nikki, you have in between. Someone's 16 and someone is getting up there. But one of my questions I was going to ask is, where do you start the conversation, right? So you have to think hypothetically, if my child is going to grow, God spare his life, he's going to reach 16, he's going to reach 14, right? And if he becomes rebellious against me, if he's unruly in my house, you see where friendship now gets differentiated? That's what I'm saying. Are you going to keep that child, that unruly child, Nikki, in your house, under your roof, when trust has been deteriorated, when respect for you has been lost? Tell me yes or no, please.
I don't think there's a yes or no answer to that. We can all sit here and say yes right now, but not until we're actually in that situation that we will actually, well, they say the truth is in the pudding, right? So the true reaction is when you're faced with that situation. Some children, though unruly, I think we have to find the root cause. That's the main thing, right? The root cause of why that child is acting unruly, because they might just simply be wanting to express themselves. And based on the question before, what I was going to say actually is that if with the parent, right? No, I just lost my thought. Um, what was your question before, prior?
If they're unruly, are you gonna keep them under your roof?
Yes. So I would still say yes, but with conditions. With conditions, definitely. And I think a lot of times we think that, well, we'll just say no, you're out there, right? And I guess I'm not there, and I hope to God I never get there. But I do think that we can sit here and, as I said before, sit here and say yes, we would, or no, we wouldn't. But when we're faced with that situation, I think that's when we'd actually make that decision.
Okay. Sophie, your unruly child, no respect, trust has been lost. Can you keep that child under your roof?
Each situation is going to be different. It would be based on, have I tried everything? Have we done counseling? Have we done, have we tried groups? Have we tried different things? If we've tried everything and it's not working, then we try something else. And so whether it means coming up with a plan, renting a room somewhere, like I don't want my child to be on the street. However, and this is the part that I struggle with. When you guys talk about not friends, do you guys do I don't treat my friends like that. So when I say like my kids, I still have a certain standard and respect for my friends. And so I wouldn't expect that my friend is going to cuss me off and still think we're going to be friends. Like I don't have friends like that. So when I say that like there's a certain level of friendship, me and my kids, even right now at 8 and 9 years old, we've been through separation. We've been through times together. My kids sometimes were the only people I had. And so there is a bond, there is a relationship, something more than even other people can relate to. So I think teaching your kids what a friendship looks like, but having that relationship and respect. If they're not respecting the rules, this is it. But I mean, depending on the age, if you want to stay, then you're paying this much amount of money and these are the conditions. And if you don't want to, then maybe we look at somewhere else where we can follow those. Maybe there's somewhere out there where you can do whatever you want, and then we'll find that place for you. But I would help them.
Thank you. Thank you. Nadine, your unruly child, trust has been deteriorated. Are they still living under your roof?
My daughter has her own apartment.
I wonder what.
What?
I wonder why.
Here's the thing. The way I see my role as a parent, my job is to give you every tool that I'm able to give you so that when it's time for you to go, maybe later, maybe sooner, but when it's time for you to go, you should have the tools necessary. By tools, I mean you should have your education. Post-secondary is my preferral, and that's what we achieve. You should have a job. You should have savings. You should have a proper income. All of these things. You should have all the foundations necessary so that when it's time for you to go, and we would both know that it's time for you to go, that I can know and feel comfortable anywhere you go, whether you're ejected or escorted or leave on your own. Here's the thing. I know that I can feel comfortable that you'll be okay, right? But if you have to be ejected and you have to end up experiencing life in a harsher way because you did not give yourself the opportunity at a certain age, You do understand what's going on, right? So it becomes a choice, right? And there's always a consequence to a choice. I'm kind of a militant, kind of hardline parent, right? So you either gotta love me or you can
Okay.
live somewhere else, you know? And you find a happy median and you're good to go, you know?
All right. Now I'm the male here speaking with three ladies here, so I'm going to give you my perspective on it. Big up to Journey Sound out there on the outside chiming in, and he's saying unruly kids, they pay half all the bills. Point blank. So unruly kids, they're paying half of the bills.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm saying. I do give respect to age. So I know the next question I'm going to ask, and some of you are already addressing it, was, and I know there's some kind of double thing going here, so just don't worry, I'm working on the bugs little by little. Can you guys hear my question though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So I know that we're saying we don't want to necessarily kick out our unruly child because we don't want to see them on the street, correct? And I guess that would apply to someone who's probably under the age of like 14, 12, 11. So you're going to work with that child, or you're probably going to find the alternative, right? But I find that even from 14 to 16, 17, when remember, these kids are not like this no more, they're like this. They're towering over you and they're not showing you any respect. So from a male perspective, if you cannot show me respect in my house, that means you don't respect my authority. And the thing is, if you're not going to accept my discipline, that means when you're out there with your friends, you're going to accept the police discipline. So when you do unruly things in my home, you do unruly things on the road, the discipline you're going to get is not going to be me talking harsh to you or expecting you to adhere to my rules. It's going to be shot by a police or shot by a gang member or shot by somebody that just cannot articulate themselves, and that's how they retaliate. So before that happens, let me tell you, one thing I said to my wife, I will not have child terrorists in my house. That means there is no reason I should be feared to come in my house because me afraid of my children. No, sir, no, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
So I subscribe to the thing that, and this is cultural, this is for me, I'm sorry, I'm going to admit it. This is me saying I was culturally conditioned because my mother said, Andy, you cannot D-O, you must G-O. I was on my own too at 16, and I had to learn, just like Nadine is saying. I'm not saying that my child must do the same thing because I raised 3 children. They didn't leave at 16 because there were some boundaries they could not pass. There were some things that I instilled and said, listen, if you don't adhere to these rules, there's going to be consequences when you reach out there. And that's all I'm saying. So you agree with that point of view?
But what do you think was the difference between them staying prior to you leaving at 16? So them staying until the age that they left compared to when you leave at 16.
What was the difference for me? The difference, I think for me was the friends that I had, was different from the friends they had, right? The times were also different, right? But my mom's rules were stricter than the rules I gave. My mom was simply this: if you don't come home by 9 o'clock or you don't call, don't come back in my home, right? So one day I decided to play big man and we left church and didn't come back till the next day. And I'm calling her the next day and she said, yeah, well, anyway you're there, you can stay there. I tried to come home. Long story short, it wasn't so easy to come back in the home. And because I was a little rebellious and disrespectful of how I spoke to my mom, I made the situation worse, and I end up being outside my home. For my child, it wasn't so stringent that if you missed the night or missed calling me, I would say, why? And let this happen again, and you're going to see a repercussion. You get what I'm saying? But that was so... See, what my mom was saying was, I was worried. I didn't hear from you. Her heartstring was crying. You get me? So it took such a toll on her that she's like, I can't have this. I can't deal with this. But I said to my children, okay, you know, I'll give you that 1, 2 strike, 3 strike thing. But listen, after a while, when you're taking this thing for joke, that means you're laughing at my authority. You're saying what you're saying is just talk. So that was the difference, Nikki, right? But if you, I'm not going to be terrorized by a child. I don't care. Sorry. So that leads to my next question then. So if your child that you happens to be ejected or made a choice to leave and they die out there, whose fault is that? Is that mine now or is it the child? Who wants to take that one first?
Well, we hear stories. Okay, we know about Paul Bernardo and his wife and what they did with Carla Homolka's sister and all of that. And you know, say
yes,
one of the children that one of the young ladies that he violated and they ended up taking the child's life. The circumstance that young lady ended up at their home is because she was either late to come home or out partying, coming in, whatever, and she was not allowed back in the house. Something to that effect. The mom to this day is guilt-ridden because she turned the child back and didn't let the young lady come in the house. And whatever, she ended up in their home and they did away with the young lady. You see, I'm not that person for malicious reasons. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm not. There are parents. I know that there are parents that do things to almost like to get back at their children, as opposed to they're teaching their child a lesson or it's a discipline thing that they're doing. Some parents, they want to hurt their children. They are so either frustrated, angry, whatever it is, and they do things, they make decisions that are based on their own emotional state.
Yes.
That ends up sending a child down a path, you know, as a result that may not have been intended, but ends up being the result, you know? So would I just, because no, there has to be a specific reason. But again, my bottom line is my job, my task by any means necessary is to get my kids over the line, prepared and ready for whatever is waiting for them outside there. And when the time comes for them to go, they're going to be ready, right? So I'm going to make sure that they're ready to be out there when and if they leave on their own or by force or whatever have you. You know.
Good point. Who else wants to touch it?
I believe. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, today.
I believe that home should always be
Nikki,
home. No, I believe that home should always be home. The door should always be open for a child to come back home. I don't believe that, well, you should be even closing the door on a child. I don't understand, as Nadine was saying, like, you know, you're teaching them a lesson. There's one thing to be teaching them a lesson, and there's another thing to be closing the door and not letting them know that, okay, you know what, it's a safe place for you to come back. And it boils back to the root. And I know it all comes back to the whole friendship thing, but I think if you train your child a certain way, make them know different rules. There's certain rules that you have for your home. Abide by this, right? And I'm not going to say, well, if you can't abide by this, go, because I'm not going to tell a 10, 11, 12-year-old that, right? They're going to have to listen to my rules. My rule is my rule. And I know my husband will think different, because it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe like you, Andrew, you know what, if you can abide by this, go, because maybe it's a time for you to go and go learn tough love out there. But I do believe that, as you said, the parent now is going to be, as the example that Nadine gave, right? That mother now is thinking, oh my God, what if I did this? I don't want to be in a situation like that. So I want my child to know that, simple, this is my rule, you follow my rules, right? But if you leave, you'll always have a home to come back to. The doors will never, it's just like,
fair.
And I don't want to go biblical on you here, but it's just like the prodigal son coming home, right? Father didn't close the door. He allowed the child to come back.
Fair. Now I hear a comment to agree with you there, and I'll let you chime in, Sophie. Someone here says, yes, that's why I don't believe locking children out of the house. Home must always be a safe haven, like what you're saying here. And go ahead, Sophie, and I'm going to ask a question I'm going to take a question from YouTube here.
So I think the only thing that I would like to say is that I do feel that, I don't know if it's cultural, but I do find that we hold on to our kids for way too long. It is our job to teach these kids to be independent, and we're trying to teach adults to still be our children. And realistically, sometimes I feel, as I said, I can only speak because most of the people that I associate with are culturally the same as myself. But how I feel is that my journey is my journey. My mom's journey is her journey, and my kids' journey is their journey. We put a lot of our thoughts, our beliefs. You have to be great. You have to be this. There are people that are working jobs that make a lot of money that are very unhappy in what they're doing because they're trying to live up to expectations of their parents. And realistically, the goal is happiness. We should all make, and what makes my mom happy might not make me happy. And what makes me happy might not make my kids happy. They need to find their own happiness. This needs to be their journey. And I'm just supposed to help them get to their journey, get them independent. Like all this, I love my kids. I'm involved in my kids' life, but I look forward to them living their own lives and living their own journey. I don't have this desire that I find that generations before, like, you know, I need to see you and I need to make sure everything's fly. Teach them how to fly like the animals. They don't hold on to their kids and keep on to their kids for years upon years. They teach them how to be independent. As soon as they're at the age that you can do it on your own, bye-bye. And it's with love.
All right.
You know? Like, and if you need help and support is there. But at some point, I do believe I've seen kids live with their parents their entire life. I don't think that's healthy or good either. You need to be your own person. You need to learn how to be your own person, have your own opinions, have your own happiness, because you will live a miserable life trying to make other people in your life happy when you should be, this is your journey.
Some good points here, ladies. I'm speaking with my guest tonight in the Tough Forum. We got Nikki Smith, Nadine Wisdom, and we got Sophie Denton here. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time and for what you're chiming in on this discussion here tonight. That not my child, a mother's cry. Shout out to Mitchell Smith out there who said his comment is, my dad used to say the door swing one way. And Journey, he made a comment, he says he got enough lockout that he reached home and get in his bed early, so he knows. Shout out to Junior McCain, big up. So much questions here. Okay, here's so much comments here, but we'll get to them. I have a question here I want to get to though from YouTube. Jean Brown says, do you think that some kids are disrespectful to the point of being ejected because they usually have somewhere else to go?
Yes.
Nadine?
Yes.
So you think that the reason why they're, you agree with that?
Listen, it's not even about that they have somewhere to go, okay? The difference between us, our rearing, and the kids them today is that they're very well educated on rights and entitlements and different programs that will support them, right? And they've been given a lot of what I want to call misinformation, okay, about a perspective on their status in the home over their parents and what their parents can and cannot do, right? So at an age where there's no perfect child out there. So there is an age where they do start to push back. You'll start to see maybe a certain little inflection in their tone, a little bit of body language, something. They're going to test the boundaries, right? But there are those that will test them to the point that you can't say anything to me. The police said, my teacher said, guidance counselor said, at Johnny's house, he can box down his mom and mom doesn't say anything. You know, they've been given all kinds of, I call it misinformation, right? Because what I said in another question before is at certain ages, the children are not able to own the responsibility. So somebody else is always going to own their responsibility until they reach an age where it's too late. It's too late, right? So whatever you have to do, if you see, as far as I'm concerned, if you see your child's behavior escalating, you have to not just match it, you have to exceed it with your presence, whether it's your discipline or love or attention, focus, whatever it is, change it up, mix it up. You have to be there
Present.
along that way, with them. Otherwise, you lose them. You lose them to the system, you lose them to crime, you lose them to friends, and then it's a struggle.
Okay.
Try and piecemeal things back, or they're dead. According to our the forum that we're in right
Okay,
now,
Nadine.
the street and they're dead.
I'm gonna push back a little bit here because I heard you touch something discipline. And as I'm reading the comments here, so sometimes you see me laughing. I'm not laughing at you, ladies. I'm reading some of these comments here. So shout out to Sherwin Grant, who says, my dad used to hang a leather belt on the wall for me, my brother and my sister. So when they see that, before we even thought about doing anything bad, we just look at that at that belt. Now, when we're talking about discipline has changed over the years and decades, right? And what we consider discipline, or what we got as discipline, we cannot really do or say we do today, can we? So Nadine, as much as you're saying,
yes, I can. Yes, I can.
How we discipline, etc., right?
That's a misinformation right there. Yes, I'm all about it, and I do, and I can. Trust and believe. Okay. Yes, you can.
I think, Andrew, that
no, I understand. Listen, go ahead, Nikki.
I was gonna say that in agreeing with Nadine, well, her first comment, not the yes I can part. I think that society and its policies have now held our children, the parents, sorry, for the parents' hands are held tied because of society and the policies that's out there. Because when you look at a child being age 11 can now sign some documents. What's an 11-year-old doing signing a document? Come on now. So we're pulling these things away from the parents, putting it in the children, yet we're saying it's the parents' fault why these things are happening. And then when it's in society's hand, then they are doing what they want to do with their children, with our children. That's so right. Our hands are also tied. Right.
So then what Sophie, you speak on it. That the battle is not just with the child, though, right? The battle is outside, working its way in, right? A big part of that stage is school, right? Teachers, the school system in general. Right? You have a lot of people come in with different approaches, different backgrounds, experience, and prejudices, etc., that they try to impose on you and your children, your family. And if you don't understand that you have a right to parent your child, that whosoever principal, teacher, whatever want to tell you anything or empower your child with this information, of course, that's the step to losing your children, losing control of your children.
And I believe that's why we have to try our best to get to our children before the parents. Sorry, Sophie. We have to try to get to our children before the community, whether the teachers or their peers get to them. We have to start to educate them before they get to them, because if they do before us, then we have to go through this detoxing of whatever they've learned from them, and then it's too late possibly.
Yeah.
Sophie, go ahead.
So, I think it all comes back to the first thing that we talked about, and the foundation is you as the parents and the relationship that you have with your kids. So, we talk about, we have to get to them before the community gets to them, but then we come back and we say, but we don't want to be your friend. So we don't want you to listen to your friends. However, you need to listen to me before they get to you, because we know that something about friendship brings value. They value friendship. Yeah. I say this because I do understand, as I said, both points of view. I worked as a foster parent for 9 years. I had over 60 kids live with me in 9 years, ranging from the youngest being 10 to the oldest being 18. And so everything you guys say is wonderful, but try parenting somebody that's not your kid. And all that goes out the window, and it goes right back to the whole relationship and respect. And so to have a teenager who could do anything with their parents now come into my house and try to do things in my house. And I've had things that, like, my own biological kids, and I couldn't beat these kids. I couldn't cuss these kids. I had a kid peeing in my vents. Every time you turn on the heat, it smells like pee. And you have to figure out ways to deal with this person and have them respect you. I've had teenage girls come in with the attitude, and I had to figure out a way to get them to respect me without having them from a child, because I can't go back in time and fix that. But somehow, and I mean, and maybe this is something we can do another time. Like, I don't mind bringing somebody from my past to say, like, what it's like having to try to respect somebody as a parent when they're not your parent. So, you know, I do feel like it goes both ways. It is about the respect and the relationship. Right. More relationship you have is the more hold you actually have, opposed to going into this mentality that we're taught mean you can't be friends. You have more control as a friend than you do as a parent.
Listen, man, you guys have all made some very pertinent points, some really great points there. You know, time just flies. I can't even believe how quick this time is gone. So, and I want to let you guys get a 1 minute rant in there and at least just do your plug. So I'm gonna just finish off with this one last question. You know, we're talking tonight about Not My Child is the topic, a mother's cry. And you know, we went so many different areas. We talked about so many different ages. And we've been watching the news every single day. You can see something happening, that men are dying, young boys, young men are dying. When women are dying, and men are dying more so than women, but when women are dying, they're dying sometimes at the hands of men. Just in the last month and weeks, you've seen domestic violence issues been brought up on the news. January 21st, 2022, we have a 13-year-old boy who gets charged with second-degree murder in another teen's death. A month later, not even, February 15th, 2022, we have a 14-year-old boy charged with shooting an 18-year-old and attempted to shoot another. So when we're talking about an age group here, my last question for everybody is, when is it too early or too late to start having that conversation with your child about violence on every level, sexual, domestic, social, etc.? At what point is it too early or too late? Who wants to take this first?
It's never too
You know what,
early.
Sophie? You take this, because I like the fact that, hold on a second. Sophie, we do have to talk after, because you've dealt with a range of people again, and they're not your kids. So I want to hear your perspective when you're dealing with and talking to people, because we're also putting forth solutions. So how do you address a question like that? How early or how late is it? When is it too early or too late?
I don't believe that there's, whenever it becomes a topic, just like everything else. Like, when do you talk to your kids about sex? When it becomes a topic. When do you talk to your kids about drugs? When it becomes a topic. Because I do have a relationship with my kids, I see the kind of things that they watch, the kind of things that they listen to, because they know that I'm not judgmental. My kids tell me things that most kids don't necessarily tell their parents, but they know that the end result is not going to be me getting upset with them. It's going to be us having a conversation. So, and I got that from parenting teenagers first, that when we have a conversation, I find out a lot more than when I'm finding out and then going in to try to parent. And so, my kids, we've had to talk about gun violence. We were witness, me and my kids, to a shooting back in 2019. 6 people were shot, 1 person died. Literally running and bullet casings flying. So my kids were exposed to that not because of choice, but something that just happened, and we happened to be there. So when I say my kids and I've been through a lot, we've had to have a lot of conversations that maybe other people haven't, just because these are my little ride or dies, right? And so I also spend a lot of time the things that I wish my parents had conversations with me about, the things I wish that we talked about, the open relationship that I wish that we had, I try to have those with my kids. Mm-hmm. Not because of disrespect. My kids know, it takes one look. Even with my foster kids, I'll tell you this, as much as I can't put my hands on them, I can't do anything, they know that Sophie, she might risk it all and go to jail and kill you. Like, she might not. But they knew that I was that type of person, that I loved them. But you know, we might push her a little bit too far and she might lose it and she will risk it all and go to jail. So let's not push to that level. And that comes a little bit with that respect. Yeah. Like they don't want to, when they respect you, they don't want to hurt you. And teenage, there's that battle because they're trying to find their independence. And that's where that battle is. They want to be their own person. They feel like they are at that level to be their own person. It's us as parents to, you know, try to guide them and teach them the ways to go. But at the end of the day, you can do everything right and they go out there and they shoot up a play. Like you can't predict. Nobody has a crystal ball to say, if you parent like this, you're guaranteed to have great kids at the end. Everyone's just trying to do the best they can with what they've been taught.
So as soon as you can get the opportunity,
as soon as like, you know, your son is into shooting games, let's talk about that. Like, why are you so drawn to that? Like, do you know that these things can hurt people? Like, how much are you involved in it? Or is it just is it fantasy play? Or is there some other that it comes with conversation and communication?
Sounds good. Nikki, how soon or how late?
I don't believe it's ever too early. It's all depend on their development, right? Some children are very developed at an early age. So I think that and you can do it in stages. So if they're developed that much, then you start to give them that information. For my daughter as a 6-year-old, I tell her, number one, don't hide anything from me. You can come and you can talk to me with anything. Regarding anything, you can talk to me. She'll come up, and if I see her hiding something behind her back, I'm like, what are you hiding? And she'll say, oh, I don't want you to know because, you know, you're going to get mad with me. And I do believe that when we tell them that we're not going to be mad, then when they tell us what the issue is or the concern is, then we can't be mad because they're not going to come back to us again. So we have to be mindful about what we say.
Nadine, how early? How late?
Never too early. Never too early. As soon as they can understand your means of communication, you start communicating all things that they need to know, right?
Okay, great. Thank you, ladies. Tonight, we addressed some serious matters and we had some fun with it too. At least we laughed, because if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry, man, when you see what's happening in the news every single day. But I really truly appreciate your time. It's a commodity that you can't get back. So I want to thank you that you spent the time with me tonight in Tough Forum. My guest tonight, everybody, Nikki Smith, Nadine Wisdom, Sophie Denton. And I'm gonna just take this time to just allow each and everybody here just to give you a 30-second rant, and then just tell them how they can get in contact with you. Tell them what you do. All right. And then we'll just I'll do my closing remarks and we'll just say goodnight to the people out there. Nadine, talk to the people, boss lady.
First of all, that's our shirt, our t-shirt. My children made that shirt.
Yeah.
Stomp out racism. We sell that shirt, $15 a shirt. We have all sizes from kids, small, all the way up to double XL. The children, my 2 kids, they came up with that design, that idea.
Nice.
And it's an awesome thing that they're doing together. I am a truck driver. I love being in this industry. It's very empowering, especially for a personality like mine. Hello, my former. You know, it suits me well.
We know some of us around here. We know.
You know, this is great. This is great. I'm glad you invited me on. This is awesome, and look forward to your next topics that you'll have.
Thank you for being here. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. Nikki, talk to the people. Give them your 30-second rant about this topic.
Okay, where do I start?
And how they can get in contact.
No problem. For me, I do photography. I am the owner and founder of DMY Studios. So if you're in need of pictures, whether it's for your wedding anniversary or any events that you're having, then you can give me a shout 416-833-5686 for any of your photography needs. I also do financial education. So whether it's for life insurance, RESP, TFSAs, a lot of people, especially Black people, they don't believe in having life insurance because they do think that it's like, I'm gonna be Jamaican now and say dead and left. But there's different types. You can actually have a living benefit, a wealth preservation, wealth transfer that you can do. So if you're in need, you don't know what you don't know. So contact me and secure your family, secure your future, your family's future. 416-833-5686. That's me.
Yes, thank
Want
you,
any of those
Nikki.
shirts? Message the
Boss
host.
lady Sophie. Yeah, I'll put out those handles after the show. Sophie, talk to the people.
Yeah. So Sophie, owner, manager of Savon Massage Therapy. I have a massage clinic. We're actually in the process right now of revamping, and I would like to come out as a wellness center. It's going to be virtual to start, but with the growth of being a full functioning wellness center is my goal right now. So we'll be offering other services. I really want to cater to the mental health group. A lot of people are struggling with mental health, even some of these issues that we talk about with our kids. Sometimes our kids are struggling with mental health and we're just seeing it as behavioral. And so sometimes if we just kind of dig a little bit deeper and get to know, what's going on with them, it'll be the change, it'll be the difference. Everything I do for my kids. Savon is my kids' name, Savannah and Mason. They know that I do it for them. And so that's what I do. So Savon Massage Therapy, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Google, everywhere. And look out for Savon Wellness. It will be around shortly. And we'll be offering things like mentorship groups for boys and girl empowerment groups. We are bringing on a psychotherapist, so we'll have counseling and therapy.
Okay.
We'll be bringing on different services, some beauty things, getting eyebrows done, and facials, and we'll be supporting the mind, the body, and the soul. So we'll also be bringing on planning about funeral arrangements and planning, not leaving it for our loved ones to have to plan our funeral. So we'll be bringing on a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff, ladies. Boss ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate 100%. This has been another tough forum where we ask the tough questions, and we're dealing with the fact that young men are dying. Men are dying, period, of all ages. But we want to start to change this trajectory. We want to bring about change. We want to bring about solutions. Of course, it's not going to end with just one conversation. And this conversation shows me that we have to have a follow-up. The ladies, I'll be reaching back out to you, whether it's individually or collectively. But we have to connect again to contribute more solutions and more conversation. Follow me, please, on Instagram at Tough Forum. Please like me, like us on Facebook at Tough Forum. Okay, subscribe. Please subscribe. I just finally get a little channel, okay? Subscribe to us on YouTube at Tough Forum. And I'm working out the bugs. As right now, I'm just creeping. They have to creep before you walk, right? Once I'm walking, after that, it's running.
Hey,
and then we're up and
gotta
running.
keep going.
You can also look for me. Look for me on the World Wide Web, www at toughforum.com. All right. And if anybody wants to hear or get in contact with these ladies, just reach me at those handles and I'll get their information to you. For Nadine, someone already messaged me that they want some shirts. So awesome. Nadine, I'll hook you up. I'll hook that person up. And Nikki, you don't know already. We're gonna spread your photography thing around. And Sophie, so much things that you have going on in that thing there. So ladies, thank you for your time tonight. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And I just want to say congratulations on the job that you're doing as mothers. And I don't want to hear, I'm praying that you never have to have that cry I pray that you'll never have to be the one that is looking out to bury or whatever, but we're going to just believe that God is able to keep your children, and what you're instilling in them is going to germinate. It's going to be influential in a positive way. And so we change that trajectory where our children are going to a place, to the streets, they're staying residing in the homes and in our churches. God bless you, everybody, tonight. Peace and love. Greetings to everybody out there in listening land and viewing land. Until we meet again, this has been Tough Forum. Have a good night. Peace and love.
Awesome. Have a good
Awesome.
night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.